Good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Elders Wisdom. Hello, Juliet.
Hello, Marion. We've actually managed to be a minute early. How did we do that?
Magic.
But I mean, we've been doing Elders Wisdom in various forms for what, 3 years or something?
Yeah, 4 years. Yes, yeah, 3
Yeah.
years.
So since all the lockups started and all the shit started flying, we decided to do the Elders Wisdom.
Yeah, it's 4 years ago we started it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we're very kind of committed to flagging up where things aren't coherent in the narrative, and that we may be being told lies, but also how to actually help each other and help ourselves get through that. Because, I mean, it's been hell. It's been hellish for everyone, what we've been going through. So it's
Small fry to me. Seems like small fry to me now.
but it's been a grueling journey for so many people.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm not detracting from the. It's just for me personally. It's like that last year is just like, well, you thought that was bad to fucking watch this.
Yeah. But for people that are going through what you're going through because of the jabs, for instance, or
Oh yeah, the horror stories.
the horror stories, the millions and millions of horror stories that of people's lives, of what they're going through now as a result of what was rolled out on us in the last 5 years. But then as you look further back, it's like it's not just been recently. Horror stories have been rolled out on people's lives for decades and centuries. There's been an incredible litany of horrors rolled out on
I
humanity.
remember when we first brought out what's the one for the papilloma thing? Oh, the number of just instant seizures and things that was incredible, and it was so hidden.
Yeah.
I remember that at the time. That was like, how can people not? How can they still allow them to be doing this to their girls?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not just about the jabs in this last 100 years. It's other things that have been going on, other ways people have been murdered and genocided, and environments destroyed, and like people misled that this is because of humanity's doing, or it's a natural disaster or whatever, when actually it's been orchestrated by other entities, whatever those entities are. We've talked so much about the dark hand behind pulling the puppet string.
Yeah.
We don't ultimately know where it's coming from, but
Yeah. Well, what we do know is absolutely it can't be a human entity because it spans generations. So, like the Jasper Rockefeller or whatever the fuck, the old guy that's just died recently. There's what his agenda was. It wasn't fruition in his lifetime, and it wasn't like he was planting a tree so his children could have apples. The whole agenda it's so clearly not a human agenda, because if it was, it would within one or two generations something would have come to fruition. But this massive agenda to get us, basically, it's to get us all hooked up to AI and become cells like in the Matrix. That agenda's been around for a very, very long time, and so through lots of generations, it's unfolded to where we are now.
yeah. Well, that's an agenda to hook us up to AI, or else there's an agenda just to murder us.
Same.
It's all the same. It's
Yeah,
like,
they're from that same playbook, aren't they?
so the specific details maybe we don't know, but we can witness that this stuff has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
And so many people on this planet have been going through absolutely horrific things. But the human spirit, I mean, this is the other side of it. It's like, although there's been all these forces of darkness all the time, and these agendas, that human spirit is kept bubbling through the whole time. And from my perspective as a therapist and a trained psychotherapist, is that the body has the intelligence and will always order itself to a higher principle. And that it's about getting out of the way and listening deeply, and the body will do its best to heal itself. people have had incredible changes in their conditions with, you know, by working with that and also employing natural things. So on this podcast, I wanted to share briefly a little bit about the deep state and about what we can do to stay healthy or to work at being healthy, yeah, as much as we can. And you know, I know that sometimes no matter what you're doing, it seems like you get slammed, because I think there's another kind of spiritual factor or whatever in all that. There's so many, you know, parts of this spiral of humanity's spiritual journey, if you like. So I was heartened because we've been following this deep state stuff for ages. I was heartened by this little clip on the Neil Oliver show the other day. Is it okay if I show it? It's a 1 minute clip saying the deep state illusion.
Oh, I know.
I don't know if this is useful to share, but let's just do it. And
I think that they, and I have to sort of put it in inverted commas because I'm never terribly sure who I'm talking about, but, you know, deep state, the state and the deep state, those who seem to be in power, I do think they're actually more afraid than they're giving out, really. I think they realise that they are losing the battle. I think they realise that more and more people are waking up about different aspects of life that we've been lied to about. It's not just COVID, it's the sort of climate, it's gender politics, it's all kinds of, you know, financial stuff, economic, and we are waking up. They do know that. So I think that the issue now is that we who are awake, we don't realise our power, and we don't realise actually that we are the majority. We really are the majority. And I agree with you that ideally we need to get together to do that. One of the things that stops us, I think there are a few things that stop us. One is just inertia, but another is the fact that people are struggling. They're struggling, you know, they're spending all their time trying to earn money, trying to keep things going, trying to keep the family going, just trying to keep their heads above water. I think that they...
So that's it, basically. It seems like people are doing their best to, you know, people are waking up, but they are struggling, and it's difficult. And it's like, what else can we do? But it's amazing how much, you know, how much shift there has been in the last 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
So last week we were talking about mind control. We've talked about mind control lots of times, haven't we? We've talked about Kathy O'Brien and the Project Project. I mean, sorry.
Your sound has gone funny again.
Oh, okay. I'll come a bit closer. So, okay, so I don't think the majority of us knew that much about mind control back 4 years ago, but I think it's coming out a lot more, and there's a lot of people working with it. So much so that Tess Lowry, who is set up the World Council of Health, actually did a Zoom call with somebody called Jason Christoph recently that we talked about last week, and I want to go back today again to his little video talking about how we get mind controlled and talking about how we can counter it, what we can do so that we can recover ourselves and we're not sucked in so much from it. So I have got that to show you, and I want to talk about that, health things. And also you brought forward David Icke and his, was that a recent video, Marion? About
yeah, I think it's this week.
So I will put the link to it in our the links I put beside the videos on Facebook and Rumble, etc. But do you want to share a little bit what you understood from what David Icke was saying?
Yeah, they were talking about how, you know, we think that what we think is cutting edge technology is like so 50 years ago, so last century, darling. So they were talking about the Neuralink work and how like Elon's trying to make out it's about putting a chip, like putting some wires in your brain, and it's got sod all to do with that. Basically, the graphene oxide is it's such a superconductor. It helps work with the human computer, if you like. It helps interference with the electronics and sending signals and stuff. So putting graphene oxide in and put in the things, you know, the things that John O'Looney was finding where they build themselves into structures.
Yeah.
So this combination of that's the, you don't need a Neuralink. They've done it. They know how to do it all.
Well, that's interesting, because what they've been discovering, for those that don't know it, the graphene oxide is one of the major ingredients in the jab. I don't know if it's major, but it's a significant ingredient in all the jabs.
Loads of us got it. Loads of us have got it in us because they've been spraying it. They add it in those swabs. They add it in. They have it on loads of
the testing swabs.
Loads
of and it's recently been discovered that it's even in the pharmaceutical drugs, isn't it? I've seen, and in cornflakes. It's like that's been put into our food chain.
The purpose is to turn us all into cells connected to AI, and that's what G5 is all about. It's what smart everything is about. The purpose of it is to have us as little robots, basically. And so, as much graphene oxide as they can get in us, that's building our in a robot for them to then transmit to, and we can then receive their signals and obey their commands.
And that ties in all with the 5G as well, the 5G, the electromagnetism.
What's it called? The Internet of Bodies, whatever they call it.
And that ties into the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. And
that's what they're going to use it all for, with the digital ID and the passports, and health passports.
Yeah, that's right.
The social credit system. It's all well planned out. China's been doing it for years. Do you not think it's funny that in China, right, they're all really secretive and nobody's allowed to go, and they're not our friends at the moment, and Russia's not our friends. Nobody is complaining about the, what's it called, Elon's satellites. Why are they not complaining?
Well, David Icke's complaining. David Icke is he's always standing up against.
But why are they not complaining? And I mean, he's supposed to be free speech. What's free about putting robots in people's heads? That's not free speech. Free speech from the AI. That's what he stands for. So the AI can say whatever it wants. Yeah. And the other side of that, with the digital currencies, that's Trump's big on that, isn't he? So they're all champions for this AI that wants to take over our brains. And that's the thing that's not human. So that's the thing that spans the generations. So galactic AI. That's what we're contending with.
Yeah. So basically that's what David Icke was saying in his video this week that you've listened to, and that's the thing.
What he was saying was about the Neuralink stuff, and he was also saying about DARPA being involved, so that when these little mechanisms do grow within our bodies, DARPA then gets involved, and obviously all the Bill Gates technologies and the DARPA people can put things together to make the brain even more programmable because of all these things that are going on in there, and how this, what we now know as mind control, is obviously on a sort of that psychological level, which creates biophysical stuff, biophysiology and biochemistry. But this is a completely different set of chemistry, isn't it? It's not non-human chemistry. So, yes.
I don't know, but what was I going to say? It's gone out of my head now.
So the thing for me about all of this is, again, it's this: where are you feeling? What's your spirit? Are your spirits up or down? Because when our spirit, so this is something that I'm starting to understand a bit more of recently. I understand, egregores, like the hive mind. So an egregore, the hive mind, is what controls like alcoholic behavior, or what controls heroin use behavior, or what controls methamphetamine behavior, or what controls Coronation Street addict behaviors. It's when we're in a club, in a tribe. That egregore thing is an extension of, or a subsystem of, the bigger AI. And so there's positives and negative ones of those. because there's all the positive groups that we're in the same hive mind as, that we like and that are good for us. But there's also all the negative ones, and the negative ones have like entities and different connections back to this multi-generational entity thingy that's tying it all together. And so understanding how we can be in community, how we can be part of a hive mind, but know that that hive mind serves us in the highest love and hasn't got any demonic entity or possession or be, you know, those egregores, because we can't deny that they're there, can we? You know, we get caught in the spirit of our tribe so easily, and that's what it's talking about. So can we be aware of what really is driving our bus, and can we change the driver and put the driver in that we want to drive the bus?
Absolutely, and that's quite interesting, because that does link in with what Jason Christoph was saying. And it's like, I'd looked at his video again at the start of this week, and he talks a lot about repetitive, you know, programming the mind through repetitive content.
Yes. So they see it sorted and all those kinds of things.
Subliminal content and the push to get people on board with the agenda, but also the push to get people on board with self-poisoning. Like, how did people ever agree to inject themselves with these toxic things? But how did they ever agree? Sorry, my phone is now going. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was really loud.
Sorry about that. All the best podcasts have a phone going off at some point. Anyway, I've turned my phone off now. Anyway, it has thrown me. So I was listening to him at the start of this week, and it's so easy to get completely brought down when we continually delving into what's going on.
Yes.
Like, there becomes a kind of toxic level where our own vibration gets completely brought.
Well, we're in that little negative hive mind, that egregore, aren't we, of all that toxic information? And even though we're looking at it with the education needed and the curiosity, but we're still in it. So our vibes are
in it, and we're on our phones and we're scrolling. I mean, this is me. I'm scrolling and looking for new information all the time. But you get sucked in, and even this is a damaging thing. It's like, somebody I know went to Borneo a couple of weeks ago and was saying how amazing it was. It's like people were really free and there wasn't all this control and everything, all this, you know, regulations. But what was distressing was to see every child, teenager, man, woman on the streets with their, you know, and groups of people around. It's like, this is a really very toxic tool, you know, that really, really, really
best mind control tool yet.
That even Tucker Carlson is saying, like, if you don't want to be watched in your bedroom at night by your phone, even when it's turned off, you know, keep it out of your bedroom. So anyway, listening to Jason Christoph, knowing that I'm a bit of an addict on the phone, looking through things all the time, I decided, and this is coming back to your point about, you know, like what we can do ourselves by switching off the negative stuff. I decided, so it's mindset. I decided I was going to not turn my phone on first thing in the morning, but I was going to get up and start doing positive things for my body. And from being in a really depressed state and from having everything bad possible go wrong that day, I mean, I got slammed by all sorts of things. It's like, okay, but I'm not going to be brought down by this. I'm just going to stay positive. And I've continued this whole week with that. And my state of mind has changed dramatically. So it is us ultimately that has the control. And this is what we need to remember. We do have the control, no matter what's being thrown at us by all sorts of things, horrendous, you know, fear-making things, that we do ultimately have the control, and that we can work on building our health. And so I'm just noticing, Marianne, we've got 20 minutes. Shall I just show this little clip of Jason and Jay, because he's talking about the human farm, and he's talking about us being bees as well. It's interesting you're saying the hive mind.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this is mind control, how it works, and the solutions. I'm just going to show a couple of minutes with Jason Christoph. And we looked last week.
This ancient group mastered hijacking human behavior by controlling the repetitive content of what humans take in through their eyes and ears. They used to have stage productions or government announcements. They didn't have a TV or the town crier. Whatever they did, they made sure it was repetitive, because that controlled people's behaviors. Your screens were invented by this ancient group, and they have always documented their end goals openly. They intend to mind control you via repetitive content toward their end goals. This is old mind control tech, not new tech, although the delivery of the mind controlling repetitive content is delivered through new tech. You live on a human farming operation, a human bee colony of sorts. We all know how bee farmers work. You make the honey, they steal it and sell it. Our cities are bee colonies. I'm not too sure if you're aware, and they do intend to take your honey. This farming operation uses two primary modalities to control the human honey producers. Human farming rule number 1. Control the repetitive content in all media, which builds group pressure for us to follow and adopt that repetitive content as our own. Human farming rule number 2. Use repetitive-based mind control so the humans weaken themselves by consuming every poison under the sun, which makes them more compliant to all forms of fabricated group pressure. This group has a 1-2 punch. They use standard control of repetitive content. They also use that repetitive content to make you drink and inject and eat poisons, which weakens you, which increases the effectiveness of the group pressure. Weak humans comply more to group pressure. Poisoned humans are weak humans. Weak and poisoned people comply to a much higher degree to follow the repetitive content on the screens, because weak people need the group to feel safe. Healthy people like myself, we do not need the group to feel safe whatsoever unless our lives are in jeopardy. Solution number 1. Here's your solutions. Your screens are documented military weapons full of negative repetitive content. This is done on purpose. Be very careful. Solution number 2, reduce the poisons in your own life as to regain control of your prefrontal cortex. The colonization of your country starts first with the colonization of your mind and your prefrontal cortex. They're two favorite poisons that they riddle throughout the slave camp, and they reinforce your consumption through the repetitive content and media are always coffee and always alcohol. This is their 1-2 punch. This is why alcohol is on the airplane. This is why alcohol is in the minibar. This is why alcohol is glorified. This is why people give each other wine. They're under mind control. These are the poisons that lubricate the mind control machine inside the human honey colony. Solutions number 3, up-regulate positive repetitive content in your own life to hack your life in the opposite direction. There's only one form of mind control: repetitive content. Control your repetitive content independently. That's what I do. That's what I teach. If you want to learn this information for free, I will slow drip it to you for free. You have to be on my email list. It's called the Christoph Report. I send it out 3 to 4 times a week in an attempt to help the society heal and make sure everybody has a better life, including me. That's one reason I do it. I would like a better life as well, but I can't do it myself. I'm going to need a lot of people's help. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation today. And
So
excellent, brilliant bit of. I need to watch him a bit more. I like that very much.
yeah, so he's got an email address that he's going to send you out for free, positive content. So the more you fill your life with a positive, it's like we get conditioned by repetitive things. So the more we're doing the positive thing, the less likely we are to be driven by that in the media and so on. So his little newsletters that he's sending out a couple of times a week is to change the balance on that. Yeah. So adopt positive repetitive content as your own. So like what he's sending out every week, but there's so much stuff now that you can tune into: inspirational speakers, I mean, well, there's tons of stuff, isn't there, Marion? What else do you?
There's loads of stuff. I mean, I like Alan Watts is one of my favourites, and it's great because I talk about repetitive. Every time I see his name, I'll just click on it and listen, and it so often is a repeat of something I've heard before. But I just love listening to him. Yeah, there's loads of people that just have that. But when I want to switch off, that's what I do. I listen to that lovely people just talking about, yeah, just not even positive, like just real information that you can trust. That isn't like just isn't about the stories of the troubles right now. Yeah.
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 You're literally, we say that neurons that fire together wire together. So you are going to
the more frequently information travels through a neural pathway, the more tissue is laid down in that path. So it becomes a permanent physical structure over time. The first connection is just an energetic one, but it takes time for that energy to then create a more physical bridge. And that's what happens with the neurons firing together. They're building a motorway where there used to be a dirt track.
That's right. So he's saying that repetitive content is the way they mind control you. So that, you know, like in the lockups where they said hands, face, face, you know, coming from every signs everywhere. Boris Johnson every night, Matt Hancock, they're all pumping out the same stuff. I mean, it's so easy now to recognize they were deliberately mind controlling us. Yeah.
They've been doing it forever, haven't they? Remember at the circus, roll up, roll up, roll up 3 times.
Yeah. So beginning to see that, the more we see and make conscious, the less likely we're to be taken into it, by it. So that's the one thing. But the other thing he says that if we're weakened already, so the second part of the agenda is to poison the environment, poison the biosphere, if you like. That's Sasha Stone talks about that. So every aspect of our world is poisoned. We've got the geoengineering, we've got the, you know, what can you think of? All the different levels that are poisoned.
Water, the pollution in the water, the pesticides, herbicides, the pollutants that they put in, all different sorts of chemicals. Like houses are full of them, from the sprays on the couches and mattresses, and we live in toxic heaven, don't we? Really.
Poisonous soup. It's like you cannot do anything without getting poisoned in some way. So if you go to the dentist, there's graphene oxide in the anesthetic. That's a new one. It's quite shocking. Fluoride is not only in the water, not in everybody's water, but they're always trying to add it to the water. We have fluoride in the toothpaste, and parents wanting to protect their children's teeth. I think it's a good thing to have. We have
sun cream's another one.
which sun cream?
Sun cream stop the skin from being able to actually absorb what the sun is really going to nourish, but allow the sun to break down the skin that doesn't. It's best injection ever.
We have all the food that's full of glyphosate, all the flowers, you know, they deliberately spray glyphosate on the crops in order to harvest them. And that's a terrible poison. So that all works to destroy the microorganism in the body. So not only that, they push. What were the stores that were open during the lockups? They kept open
they kept the off licenses open, the supermarkets open. They didn't. They shut down the DIY stores at one point as well, didn't they?
Yeah. But they kept open everywhere where you could go and
the chemist open, the pharmacy that was open.
You could self-medicate yourself with alcohol or tobacco or something like that. So, and the coffee shops, you know, Costo, and you know, all those corporate things. So they're just like pumping poison into us from every angle. And what Jason Christoph says is that weak humans are very easy to control, since when weak, then they want to follow the herd. So
we become really people pleaser, don't we? Because we need to be looked after, so we have to please our looker after us.
Yeah, so we feel really, really vulnerable. So we're going to go along with the narrative, whether we agree with it or not, because it doesn't feel safe not to do that. So
You don't consider your own values if you're in that much need, do you? Yeah, you're so desperate. The only value you consider is what you think the other needs satisfying.
absolutely. So Jason, this is really important. Jason Christoph says that the way to counter the mind control is, first of all, not do the negative repetitive stuff that, you know, the mind control stuff, but also to build your health, to build your physical strength, to build your emotional strength, to build your mental strength, your spiritual strength. So, you know, feeding yourself positive messages, for instance, is one way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that we have these different levels to ourselves. So the other thing is earthing. Going, David Wolf is very big on this, isn't he? Going out every day, barefoot, barefeeted. How do you say that?
Barefoot. But I think the thing with earthing and grounding, especially if you live in a city, it's like if you live in somewhere that there's a lot of earth available around you, I think that sort of gives off a field anyway. But like living where I live, it's concrete everywhere. There's very little greenery around. So I think it becomes even more crucial when we're in these concrete jungles. You need the earth.
Absolutely. And there are some incredible earthing tools as well that will help you with that.
I've got a sheet. I've got a grounding sheet on my bed that's plugged in, and it's got an earth connection. But the other two things don't do anything, just the earth connection, and then it earths the sheet on the bed.
Yeah. But walking outside barefoot, even, you know,
Yeah.
there are some parks and things around, even if you're in a concrete jungle. Usually there's some parks or something.
Yeah.
Going to the seaside, that's incredibly earthing.
Yes.
You've got the ozone from the water, the salt water, just that feeling of aliveness and so on. But other than that, you can put your feet in salt water. That's very earthing as well, a bowl of salt water.
Yes, nice and hot.
Yeah.
Lots of Epsom salt. Bit of bentonite clay in there as well. That's nice because it pulls things out.
Absolutely. So you can also down regulate your nervous system. This is what we taught a lot on the trauma training, the trauma informed training. It's like recognizing. I put a little video up here. I'm not going to show it, but there's a link to it where they're talking about bringing your body into the parasympathetic system, nervous system, because that's where healing happens. I've put a link to my online trauma healing program as well, because that also teaches you how to regulate your nervous system and bring you down into a parasympathetic state. And then, Marion, there's all the stuff that you've done with the yoga practice, meditation. Can you tell us a little bit about that? The breath, how you can regulate your nervous system with the breath.
Yes, the breath is the bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind, because or the body, you can call it the body. But so the unconscious mind is running the show. You know, the smooth muscle isn't under our mind control. The liver isn't. So that the part of us that runs that show, and the breath connects our thinking mind to the body mind. So it's the bridge between the two. And so it's a really powerful tool in yoga, because becoming what you become aware of, where your focus goes, is where your practice is. And so the practice is such an innate spiritual experience that you want to remove any focus from the physical body, or even from the breath eventually. You want that whole system to be running so smoothly that you can slip inside it without any disturbance or any agitation or anything, and you can slip inside there, and that's where the depths of meditation can happen. But yeah, it's a really strong gateway to get through, to be able to come back to ourselves, because the breath is so because it's there all the time. It's constantly being unconsciously impacted by everything. So when we consciously connect to the breath, to begin to train it, so then the body can then train to a more calm state with a calm breath, it takes a lot of repetition, it takes a lot of practice. And the effect can be temporarily instant, because you can feel like either you're really euphoric or you're really relaxed or very in a different state after a breathing practice. But if you do breathing practices over a very long period of time, you really start to learn a lot about yourself and your mind and the way that this whole being operates when you're not really conscious of it. So yeah, it's a great tool for awareness and regulating the nervous system to bring us either down out of a panicky or just agitated state, but it also can lift us out of heaviness, out of depression or despair, or things that hold us in that heaviness, sloth, all
That's
that.
interesting, because also Jason Christoph talks about, as soon as you're watching a screen, then the frontal cortex is turning off and the oxygen supply to the frontal cortex is decreased dramatically, and that a key symptom in people suffering from depression is low oxygen supply to the frontal cortex. So it's very fascinating, all that.
Yeah.
We've not got a lot of time left, so I'm just going to run through these things. So another important thing is good sleep, regularity of sleep, going to bed at the same time every night.
Quality of your water is so important.
Yeah, so filtering your water if you can. You can use charcoal.
Spring water, isn't it? Find a nice clean spring. That's the best you can get.
Absolutely. And avoiding toxic food. So when you think anything that you're buying in the supermarket is probably poisonous in some way, it's absolutely loaded with all sorts of bad fats and glyphosate and all sorts of fake ingredients and things. So buying organic where possible, or growing your own, or going to a farm shop. Avoiding bad fats, like the sunflower oils and all those oils, sticking with
all the seed oils. Olive oil is the only one that isn't that it's lubricant, isn't it? Seed oil.
Yeah.
So
avoiding those, because that's what we're being sold as good things, like
what's it called? No, that's granola. Canola.
Horrible stuff.
And granola, all these words that are meant to be healthy, super trendy, and they're not.
They've lied to us. They've lied about fat is bad, but fat is good. And so we need to cut out the sugar and make sure we've got good fats in our diet every day, like coconut or
all animal fats are really good for. So if you do eat animals, animal fats are great. So I go to the butcher. I go to get bones for soup. I do a lot of bone broth and soup. And I always get I ask for the piece that's got, and I went, can I have the one with the most bone and the most fat?
Yeah. So the other thing is sorry, I'm rushing a little bit. So good fats, very important. So detoxing daily. With the amount of poisons that were being sprayed, it's important to detox daily. So I had it today, a lovely bath with, I've got good quality sea salt here. So a jar full of sea salt. You've done this as well, haven't you, Marion?
Yeah.
The bicarb and green clay in the salt water, in the bath water, maybe essential oil or something.
Yeah. Nice.
So I tend to have a infrared sauna. If you can buy them, they're very cheap on the markets these days, followed by a cleansing bath like that. But the other thing that I tend to do is first thing in the morning, the very first thing is like I have a lemon juice in a glass of water. So that is very, very good for the liver, cleansing the liver. That's my start for the day.
Do you just drink just pure lemon juice, nothing in it?
I just put water, just a glass of water and half a lemon or a whole lemon, depends how much you can tolerate that.
Do you warm it? I like it warm.
Okay, I want to say that everybody here is different. So, just because I'm saying these things, you will find things that suit you. But there's lots of different ways to approach detoxing. So another thing is body brushing. This is a brush. So it's like brushing, and you've got the information for this. You can find online. Up towards your heart, all your legs, your arms, your torso, your back, as far as you can reach. A nice brisk brush of your skin every morning. That moves the lymph around, and the lymph system is what's taking care, picking up the toxins from the blood.
sluggish and sticky and toxic in there if you don't move it around.
Absolutely. So it's very, very important. And that's such a simple thing to do. The other thing is zeolite. This is an amazing thing for clearing heavy metals from the body. This particular brand is very high quality. It's nanoparticles of zeolite, so it's tasteless. I have 4 sprays of that a couple of times a day. And then we have chlorella, which is a blue-green algae. This has quite a strong flavour. It's not everybody's glass of water.
I get it in little compressed pills, so you don't have to taste it or mix it with anything. You can just take it with your supplements.
Yeah. So I put it in this glass.
Really messy carnic green powder. So rather than have it messy, I got it pushed into little pills.
It's very messy, so I'm just going to show you. So I tend to mix it with lemon juice or vitamin C as well. So this is the chlorella in the water. The flat minerals of the chlorella is going to attach to heavy metals again and suck them out of the body. So there's that. There's also another thing which David Wolf recommends a lot as well. Where's my other spoon? Which is charcoal. Don't spill this under any circumstances because it's lethal if you spill it. It goes a long way. This is energized charcoal. I just put this in a glass of water. So this is recommended to take at bedtime, for it to work overnight, and to start with a small amount if you decide to try and do that.
Have you mixed the charcoal and the chlorella together?
Well, I tend to have the chlorella in the morning. It's like I've got charcoal over my fingers now. It's so difficult to get rid of, so do not spill it anywhere.
I use it for teeth. I have a dip in the bathroom that I've dipped my toothbrush in.
Yeah. Oh, you do your teeth in charcoal?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you come out with black teeth.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Or a black line down there and you've not realised.
But that's the thing. The charcoal sticks to the heavy metals as well. And then there's the Roots brand product called Clean Slate that is very, very good for capturing heavy metals. And then once you're doing that detoxing program, then it's about putting the micronutrients back into your colon, into your gut, because our whole body is dependent upon the microorganisms, which actually get killed off by all the poisons that they put in the food. So you need to build back your microorganisms. And the best thing for that is kefir, which is like a yogurt type thing that you make. It's very simple to make, very inexpensive. Are you still doing yours, Marion?
Yeah, no, I don't make it anymore. It was too difficult.
It's too difficult for you, yeah.
Kept dropping things.
But it's so simple. You just mix it with a good quality milk every day.
And one of the other things that's really important for the gut as well is bone broth. You can use soup, fish if you don't eat meat, but a bone broth is really, it's the most incredible salve, like a medicine, and it just smooths itself across the lining of the gut so that your poo starts to come more like sausages again.
Yeah, your poo is going to tell you a lot about your state.
So yeah, if I don't have bone broth, I can tell my sausages aren't the same.
So you need to have regular bowel movements. Maybe possibly several every day. A good, healthy, loose bowel movement every day. Not massively loose, but a good, movement.
Nice sausage that moves on its own.
Because if not, your whole body is getting clogged up with terrible. It's like this plumbing getting clogged up with filthy.
There's a lot of extraction happens around the colon as well. The body's just constantly sucking stuff out at that point in the colon. So the more it's sat there, the more toxins are getting sucked out of it as well.
Yeah. So if you've got a poor bowel movement, then you're not really, you can't detox very well.
Yeah.
So the other thing is boosting your immune system. So there's lots of things around to do that. But the 3 things that are very, very helpful is vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. So that is like the pillars, if you like, for a basic immune system boost. So we are almost at the end of our time. So Tess Lowry on the World Council of Health, I'm just going to share the screen again if I can. She's put out a, where is it? She's put out a detox and well-being guide, and it just costs £5 to buy, to download. I don't know if you can see that. It's well worth buying it. And this is brought together with information from all over the world, traditional approaches using natural products to maintain your health. So I will put the link for that as well.
Oh, you're making work for Jack now.
Why?
Because it's over an hour. He's going to have to edit it to get it on TikTok. TikTok that,
Oh,
Jack.
right, we've got 2 minutes. TikTok that, Jack. So,
No, we're over by 2 minutes. We started a minute early, remember?
oh my God, yes. Okay, so let's just, is there any feedback from anyone about what we've shared? We're just going to look through your messages now. I'll go back from what I can see. Okay, so Red Debbie's, Jack says, yes, that's the agenda. Keep us in survive mode so we don't start to think outside their box. That's what Jack has said there. If anybody else wants to write anything quickly now. Debbie says, replying to Jack Cox, yes, I was listening to Ike at lunchtime about a non-human force controlling things, and the technology we think is great is like from the Stone Age in comparison to what they have.
Yeah.
Debbie, maybe you just listened to what Marion was talking about.
Yeah, she did.
Sounds like it. Did you send it to Debbie?
No, but it's because he does. People who watch him regularly, he's clear, isn't he? You remember what he says.
He's very, very clear. He's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
So Jack says, please follow the new Elders Wisdom TikTok channel and YouTube channel.
Please follow us.
Please follow us and share, because our aim is to help people. Debbie says, replying to Jack, I love Alan Watts too. I love Alan Watts too, Marion. And funnily enough, I have started listening to him again as he crops up and I click on it.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't take any of it seriously.
I don't think I've seen it.
You have to listen to him. There's not very much video of him. He died in the 70s or 80s.
Oh, really? And I'm just going to show you here the link to my online, it's a 4-month program, online healing program, which Marion, who's very, very skilled, she helped me put this together. So there's a little video talking about regulating the nervous system, how it can benefit you. And it's daily videos that I have made. There's 16 or more videos that guide you through the way of regulating your nervous system. And there's a way of monitoring the progress you're making. And I'm available here for you to, to contact if you need some help with that. So, is there anything else, Marion, now?
We're very late.
We're very late, so we're going to go now, okay? Black hands. I'm part of the Black Hand gang now. Don't know if I'll ever get this off. Okay, lots of love to everyone.
See you all next week.
Lots of love. Black-handed wave. See you next week. Bye.